I love baseball cards. Got 'em, need 'em, got 'em, need 'em, need 'em, need 'em, got 'em, got 'em, need 'em.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports card show pickups videos. So I went to a card show recently and I found some vintage cards, some pretty good cards that I can use for TTMs and such. Unfortunately, the seller that I normally go to, he just didn't have a lot of cheap TTM fuel this time. Normally, 50 cents a card, a little bit cheaper than that. This time I had to pay a little bit more. So, I hope this isn't the sign of the times, but finding vintage cards, from the 60s and 50s and even the 70s is just getting more and more expensive. So hopefully this was just a dry spell for me this time and this isn't a thing to come. But in his 50-cent box, I literally only got a handful of baseball vintage cards that I could use for TTMs. Now with that said, I found some other hockey cards in that same thing. So hockey is not a big deal really where I'm from. I know some of the other viewers it might be, the top sport in your city, but where I'm from, hockey's just not really that popular. And because of that, I think I did pretty good here with some cheap 50-cent guys that I can write. So we're going to do the hockey cards first, then we'll jump into the baseball, and I'll show you all the baseball that I got. So just to get the hockey ones out of the way, these were all less than 50 cents, and all these people do sign through the mail. So that is the good news. So like I said, there's a Hall of Famer one right there. Hopefully you'll be seeing a few of these, in the near future as I expand myself in the through the mail with hockey. So not much there, just a little bit of hockey. We'll jump into a little bit of baseball, some of the cheap baseball, or I'm sorry, some of the cheap football, excuse me. I found a Bobby Bell, and this is a AOC semifinal pro game from 72 or 3. But the gentleman running there is Don Nottingham, and Don Nottingham is a pretty good signer through the mail, so I'm going to probably send that his way. Let's see what else we got here. Alright, so I've got one more basketball card, and I'll kind of throw that in with these. And I found a Jumpin' Joe Caldwell card. Jumpin' Joe Caldwell is a pretty good signer through the mail, so I found this tall boy. I spent a little bit less than that for it, but I did spend, a few bucks on it, but it is his rookie card. So I thought, why not? Definitely worth it. So moving on to the baseball, we have a collectible card here. This was not for TTMs. This is just purely to collect. And I found a Ron Santo rookie card. And it has a $12 price tag on it, but I actually got it for a little bit less than that. I actually went to this vendor 2 days in a row, and the first day I spent $20, and the next day I spent $20. So I spent $40 total on all the stuff that you're going to see, including the hockey cards and the cards I just showed you. So a Ron Santo rookie card. And now these are the cheap TTMers. We'll start with the 50-cent stuff and work our way through that. So these are 50 cents. Chuck Essigen on a Jello or Post. I don't know which. I think it's Jello. There's a Dave Leonard rookie. Wes Stock. Weiss. Jack Hyatt. Jay Hook. And George Spriggs and Bill Rohr. So that's it for the 50 centers. Not a lot. Now, these other ones were priced as marked, but I got them for a little bit cheaper. And there's a Norm Miller Doug Rader rookie, which I've gotten signed before, so I found another one to get signed. That kind of falls in the 50-cent category there. There's Tom Griffin and Skip Gwynn. There's a rookie stars of a couple guys that signed, Terry Harmon and Duffy Dyer. John O'Donohue. A couple Terry Foxes. And again, you can see the prices, $1.25, $1.50. That one was $1. And again, I didn't pay full price for these, but I didn't get them for 50 cents. There's a Jim Allen. He signs through the mail. Couple Joel Mullers. This one's an interesting one. This is a rookie stars with 3 guys that are still living. You know, Elliott, Costo, and Simpson. And I found another Elliott to go with that, to send that to Elliott to sign. Bernie Allen, one of the original New York Mets, Craig Anderson. So that's it. I mean, like I said, not the best find, but you know, getting another Ron Santo rookie in the collection. And again, this isn't you know, in perfect shape. You know, this would probably grade a 1 or 2 at best, but it's a Ron Santo rookie. You know, and getting Jumpin' Joe's rookie card here. Hopefully I can get that inked up and get Joe to sign that for me. But, you know, all of this, roughly $40 for everything. So, not the best find in the world. Not after I found a bunch of 35-cent cards. But he just didn't have them this time. So, hopefully in a couple months when I see him again, he'll have some more of these 50-centers for me to look at. Alright, so we'll move on to the next purchase. Alright, so this next dealer, I don't even know where to start with this. We got autographs, we got whatever. So I think I'll start with, these were $4 a piece. He was asking for 5, but I was able to get them down to 4. And what I got here, again, these are 1-touches. This was a David Robinson Beam Team Stadium Club card that I did not have, at least I don't think I have. But it comes in a 1-touch, so that in itself, you know, made it worth, you know, $3 just in my opinion. This is a really nice Joe Mauer jersey card. I thought, you know, Joe's in the Hall of Fame now. You know, I don't have anything against him. You know, I saw him when he was in the minor leagues, actually. That's how old I am. I've always been a fan of Joe Mauer moderately. And I thought, you know, not a bad price there. So, you know, $4, why not? I grabbed a Freddie Lewis autograph in a 1-touch. And Freddie Lewis is probably most known for being an Indiana Pacer back in the ABA days of the Pacers. You know, Freddie was kind of, you know, one of their stars. And again, it's in a 1-touch, so it's a no-brainer for just $4. And I've never seen one of these before. The final one that I got for $4. And this is from 2013 baseball. And it's a manufactured patch card, but it's like a cloth rookie, or it's, I don't even know, but it's a cloth card of Mike Schmidt. And I thought, you know, this is like kind of like the throwback to the cloth issues that I'm guessing that they did that, you know, that year. I don't know. I don't know a lot about cloth Topps cards, but I thought, you know, that's a really cool Mike Schmidt. I'm just going to grab that for $4. And that one came in a screw down, so I might not even take that out of that just because it's you know, protected well. It's a thick card, as you can see. I'm just going to leave it right in there. And I thought for $4, why not? Now the deal got a little bit bigger, and we actually landed on $40 for everything. And what I'm going to show you, you know, is what I'm talking about. This David Robinson was kind of a throw-in because, again, I'm a David Robinson fan, but it's a prism orange, you know, shiny whatever. I don't even know, but I know I didn't have that in a prism orange, so I grabbed that. But the seller had leaf metal proof packs, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, I've kind of caught a bug of collecting these lately. I haven't shared a lot of that on my channel. This is probably the first time I've shared these on my channel, but I've kind of caught a bug of collecting these one-of-one leaf proofs. And the seller had these for $6.99 a pack on his table, sealed, okay? And I actually opened one, and you can see where it says void right there. So if you see these and it says void, that means that the sticker has been removed. And you can see right there, that's their tamper proof right there, okay? So this one, I already know what's in there. This one we're going to open up and we're going to get the surprise here in a second. So I got to talking to him, and I was negotiating back and forth, trying to make like a bundle deal with these. And finally I got him to go down to about $5.50 a piece on these. And I thought, that's fair. We're going to roll the dice and see what we get. Well, he said, here are the ones that I opened up. And he said there's football, there's hockey, there's, all these other sports, but it's all sports. And I said, well, obviously I collect baseball, so I want that the best. He's like, well, here are the ones that I pulled. And I said, well, let me see what you got. So he shows me a Jack Morris, pre-production proof, out of this pack right here. And I thought, man, that is cool. That is so sweet. So I said, I got to have that Jack Morris. Let's throw that into the pile here too. And then in his display case, he had a $10 price tag on this. And that is a Rick Wild Thing Vaughn Charlie Sheen 1-of-1 rainbow, I guess you would call that, proof. And he said he opened these up, and again, these are $6.99 a piece, so he wasn't really, making a whole lot of money off Charlie Sheen here. And I said, well, what's the best you can do on Charlie? He's like, $6. So really, he basically gave it to me for a little bit less than the price of what he was selling these for sealed. So very cool. I said, done. I want the Jack Morris. I want the Charlie Sheen. He had a couple other ones there. He had a football player I never knew. I want to say he had a hockey guy, but these were the only two baseball ones that I really wanted. And so then I said, okay, let's buy two of these. So we settled on $40 for everything, which I thought was more than fair. That's probably what it's worth, but $40 for all this, and then we get to gamble. Let's see what we get. So I opened this first one right there at the table, and I pulled it out of the container here, and I went, whoa, 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 just like The Price is Right, and I'm like, oh man. Jeremiah McClellan. I'm like, well, that's unfortunately not the level of Rick Vaughn or Jack Morris here. So I kind of lost my $5.50 on that pack. But here we are, guys. I'm going to open this one up right here. And as you can see, the seal has not been broken. So you don't see the void. Like I told you about the void right there. Void. The seal has not been broken on this one. So, I'm going to open this off camera, and we're going to do a reveal right now together. So let me pull this sticker back, and then you're going to see what I see at the same time through the camera lens. Alright, sorry, I'm kind of butchering the opening process here. I kind of tore up the box a little bit. I swear this was much easier to do while I was at the card show. Alright, so the great reveal here. Who do we have? It's baseball. That's good. Okay, so we at least got baseball. And it is Wade Meckler. I have no idea who Wade Meckler is. So, unfortunately, I happen to say here that I kind of struck out. I don't feel, these two really yielded high dividends here. The seller had probably about 20 of these, and I picked 20 at random. There was no method to reason. He literally opened it up like a card deck and said, okay, pick two. And, unfortunately, we didn't strike anything. I don't know who Wade is. I don't know really who Jeremiah is. So maybe these guys are up-and-coming prospects. I certainly would have rather gotten a proven guy, like a Jack Morris or whatever. I actually paid less for the Jack Morris than one of these packs. So I guess the overall review is, if you guys really like to gamble, you could either have feast or famine with these 1-on-1 proofs. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Got a few things at the card show. Like I said, a lot of TTM fuel right over there. Also some great stuff here. Like I said, I really like that Mike Schmidt patch. That's just the coolest thing. I've never seen one of these, and I'm like, gotta have it. Look forward to your comments below, and as always, happy collecting.